Your grocery bill last month, whatever that number was, it was higher than the same card a year ago. The government's own data confirms it. Food at home is almost 3% higher than last spring, and a handful of items are climbing far faster than that. Here is what nobody tells you in the panic videos. Most of the foods people swore were vanishing are still right there on the shelf. Coffee, avocados, tomatoes, bananas, oranges. Every one of them got pulled off the tariff list in late 2025. The shelves are not empty. That story already expired. But a smaller group of imported foods did get more expensive. Those increases are real, and most of them are not coming back down. The grocery chains are counting on one thing, that you can't tell which is which. You hear the word tariff, you assume everything imported is doomed, and you either panic, buy the wrong things, or you overpay for an item that has a cheaper domestic twin 2 shelves away. Quick thing before we dig in. If this is useful, hit subscribe and the bell. This channel exists to separate the real from the noise, the actual problem from the manufactured panic. So let me do the thing the headlines won't. I'll separate the foods that genuinely cost more from the ones that were never really at risk. And for everyone that went up, the exact domestic swap that costs less and does the same job. Start with the one hitting almost every kitchen, coffee. Your morning cup is up about 5% over the year, and it is one of the few increases that has almost nothing to do with tariffs. Coffee beans were exempted back in November. So why is it still climbing? Because the price of the bean itself went up at the source. Drought in Brazil. Weak harvests. That is a crop problem, not a customs problem. Waiting for a tariff rollback to fix it is a waste of time, because the tariff was never the cause. What works instead? Stop buying pre-ground name brand cans. Switch to whole bean store brand in the largest size your store carries. Per cup, you cut the cost by a third or more, and whole bean stays fresh far longer, so you waste less of it. Let me stop here, because this is the heart of it. Every food on this list follows the same pattern. A real increase, a reason the headlines get wrong, and a cheaper domestic product sitting right there that nobody points you toward. I put the full breakdown in one place, the complete survival research file. 11 imported foods, what each one costs now, the real reason behind every increase, and the exact domestic swap with product names and where to buy them. It is all in the suppressed file. Step by step, the link is first in the description right at the top. Scan the QR code on your screen or hit the first link in the description and get it now. But stay with me, because the next swaps save the most money. And one more thing while you're here. If you have made it this far, you are already ahead of almost everyone shopping blind right now. Most people keep paying the import price for a domestic product one shelf over. Share this with someone who keeps complaining about their grocery bill. Now let me keep going. Now the second one, and it is the sharpest jump on the list, chocolate and anything made with cocoa. Sugar and sweets are up more than 6% over the year, with another 6% rise projected across 2026. The cause is not a tariff. It is a global cocoa shortage. Disease and drought in West Africa, where most of the world's cocoa grows, cut supply hard, and a small import tax stacked on top of an already strained crop. The move: buy unsweetened cocoa powder instead of finished bars when you can. A tin costs a fraction per serving, stores for years, and lets you control the sugar. For everyday chocolate, the store brand bar pulls from the same cocoa supply as the premium label at half the price. Third, olive oil. This one is a genuine import story. A 15% base tariff on European goods landed on top of a Mediterranean drought that already cut the harvest. Spanish, Italian, and Greek oils all absorbed it. The swap that holds up. Domestic California olive oil exists. It is not under the European tariff, and the better bottles rival the imports. For high heat cooking, where premium flavor is wasted anyway, switch to domestic avocado oil or store brand canola. Save the expensive oil for the salad, not the frying pan. Fourth, imported cheese. European Brie, Gouda, aged Parmesan, all carrying that 15 to 20% tariff. They turned into luxury items fast. The swap is simpler than the marketing wants you to believe. Wisconsin and Vermont produce aged cheddars, domestic hard cheeses in the Parmesan style, and creamy domestic bries that cost far less because no tariff touches them. Aging is aging, whether it happens in Italy or Wisconsin. Fifth, imported seafood. Shrimp and tilapia from Asia took a real hit. A 10% tariff pushed prices up, and some imported varieties got scarce on top of it. What the seafood counter won't say, wild-caught domestic options dodge the tariff completely. Gulf shrimp, domestic catfish, Alaskan pollock, and salmon are all landed right here in the United States. For canned, switch from imported to domestic packed tuna and salmon. Cheaper per ounce, and they store for years in the pantry. Sixth, tree nuts, cashews, pistachios, and certain imported almonds travel long supply chains from Asia and the Middle East, and the cost climbed. The swap is almost embarrassing once you see it. California grows the majority of the world's almonds, and a huge share of its walnuts and pistachios. Buy domestic grown nuts in bulk bags instead of imported mixed tins. Far less per pound and zero tariff exposure. 7th, wine and imported spirits. European wine, hit with tariffs and thinner selection, got pricier and harder to find. The move is regional. American wine regions, not just California, but Oregon, Washington, New York, make bottles at every price point with no import tariff. For what you used to spend on a mid-tier European bottle, the domestic equivalent is often the better value now. 8th, specialty rice. Imported jasmine and basmati climbed, and the bags got pricier. Domestic rice is enormous. American long grain and even American grown jasmine-style rice from the southern states costs less and never touched a customs form. Buy the big domestic bag, store it sealed, and it lasts for years. Now, let me connect all of this because the pattern is the entire point. Every item here lands in one of two buckets. Either it was never really at risk, like the coffee and avocados that got exempted, or it has a domestic version that quietly does the same job for less. What the panic content gets wrong is the framing. It tells you imported food is disappearing, so you feel helpless and stockpile in fear. The truth is calmer and far more useful. A few categories cost more. Almost all of them have a cheaper American-grown or American-made answer, and the people who learn which is which simply stop overpaying. Let me be honest about the limits, because that matters. Some imports have no equal. A specific single-origin coffee, a true aged Italian Parmesan, an authentic French wine. If that exact thing is what you want, you pay for it, and that is a fair choice. The swaps here are about the everyday version, the one you buy on autopilot, the one where you pay an import premium for no reason you would defend if someone asked. And the weather-driven increases, the coffee and the cocoa, won't be fixed by any trade deal. Those are crop problems. The only real defense is buying the cheaper form, the whole bean, the cocoa powder, and storing it well. So here's the actual choice in front of you. Keep reading headlines that say the shelves are emptying, and let the fear set your grocery budget. Or learn the items that actually moved, swap the ones with a cheap domestic twin, and pay for the few irreplaceable imports on purpose instead of by accident. The grocery chain is counting on confusion. Confusion is what keeps you reaching for the import label out of habit. The moment you know which foods really went up and which never did, that whole game stops working on you. I pinned a comment with the 3 swaps I could not fit here, the ones that save the most per month. The exact products and where to find them are in that pinned comment and in the full file linked at the top of the description. That is the difference between shopping scared and shopping informed. One drains your budget on autopilot. The other puts you back in control of every dollar that goes into the cart, week after week, for as long as you keep shopping. And if this changed how you will shop, subscribe before you go. The next file breaks down the household products running the same playbook. The $4 item sold to you as $40. The information was always there. Now you have it.